today I'm going to change gears a little bit, and I want to talk about, something that takes place when you are able to accept, something that takes place when you are able to reclaim power. And if you've got no idea what I'm talking about when I say reclaim power, if I can just soundbite it for you, there is a power in allowing things to be as they're showing up. For me, I'm a big believer that everything that is happening because it's meant to be happening. And if it wasn't meant to be happening, it wouldn't be happening. That puts me in a state of mind of allowing things to be. I don't see things as this shouldn't be happening. Like, sure, there may be something in my life that might be taking place that will cause me discomfort, right? But it's my ability to deal with my discomfort. It's my ability to take responsibility with how I choose to see what's taking place, how I choose to respond with what's taking place. If you don't have the ability to take responsibility for your life entirely, a lot of the things that I'm sharing with you is very difficult to be able to comprehend and very difficult for you to be able to live. It's very difficult. Sometimes we say, well, the things that are taking place in like right now in the world with the coronavirus, well, that's not, that wasn't my fault. I didn't create that, so I'm not responsible for that. Yes, but you are responsible in how you choose to see it. You are responsible to how you respond to what's taking place. That still is your power. No one has taken that away from you. You still have a responsibility in how you digest or integrate what's taking place in your life. You have a responsibility with how you feel about it. No one. Although in our lives we may look at the world outside of us and say, well, this person caused me to feel this way, the world is causing me to feel insecure, the responsibility or the power in how we choose to feel, or more importantly, how we choose to see what's taking place in our world is still with us. Nobody put a gun to your head and said, feel insecure. Right? What's taking place in what we are experiencing is all entirely up to us in how we choose to see it, how we choose to digest it, how we choose to integrate it. So that's probably a very important point, to understand, to grasp that yes, we are responsible for our reality. And sometimes you'll say, well, I'm not responsible for what is taking place or what's happening to me in my life. But you have a responsibility to how you choose to see it, how you choose to integrate that, how you choose to process that. And when you have that ability to process things and to decide consciously how you choose to process it, you'll realize that the things that are taking place, that are happening in the world, is not happening to you, but it's happening for you, for your process. Okay? For me, when I was navigating my world, in my reality, and trying to find out really, who am I, what is life really about, and how do I integrate all the things that I'm realizing, for me, it was like I was getting a piece of the puzzle, like a picture puzzle. If you're into picture puzzles, what you normally do is you have a picture that you can see what the outcome or the result of this picture puzzle looks like, and then you open the picture puzzle and you pour out all the pieces on a table and they're all just scattered everywhere. But when you're playing this picture puzzle, you at least have a picture of what it's to look like. But when you're playing the game of life and you're trying to work out, who am I? Where do I stand? What power do I have? What responsibility? What am I meant to do? Why am I here? Where am I going? All these deep questions are like pieces of the puzzle, but the trick is you don't have the end picture and what it looks like. Okay? But you have a feeling. You have a feeling that can navigate. Where in the picture puzzle, you use your visual reference. When you're playing a picture puzzle, you have a visual reference, and you can see I am building a picture puzzle of an aircraft here. This is what it's looking like. So you can navigate and find different pieces, and you make this picture puzzle. But in life, we don't have the picture, but we have a feeling. And that feeling speaks to us in the moment. If you are in the moment, you will feel it. And you can just get a feeling of, you move a few pieces around and you find, this seems to fit there. And so what I'm trying to say is that in life, although we don't have that end result of what it's meant to look like, because at the end of the day, in life, there is no end result. Like you are continuously, even you might say, well, when you die, that it's an end result, but you don't really die. You leave this body, right? The way I like to describe it is like we are experiencing ourselves being an iceberg within an ocean, right? We believe who we are is the form, but we are really floating in the formless, or in the liquid, if you like, being the ocean. In this case, we are experiencing ourselves as form, as the physical form, but we are floating in a formless sensation, a formless energy that we can't see with these eyes. But we are floating in that infinite possibility, that energy that connects all of us as one. We are floating in it. A fish doesn't know it is swimming in an ocean. It doesn't know that. We don't know that we are floating or connected within each other. We don't know that we are floating in or navigating in an energy, an infinite possibility, an energy that has infinite possibilities. So the idea of death, if you like, is when the iceberg, if I can use this metaphor, the iceberg, when it melts or loses its form, right? What happens? It melts back into the ocean. Okay? There is a part of us that is born, I understand, and there's a part of us that will one day die. But that part of us is a stage that we use. It's the costume that we wear. A stage, when I say a stage, it's a platform that we are experiencing our reality through. We don't die. So it brings me to, what I want to talk about. And, it's funny because I don't know what I want to talk about until I start talking about it. But it brings me to realizing what I want to talk about. As I'm starting to share, I realize that I do want to talk about energy. And we spoke about this last week about acceptance. When you have an acceptance, it's your energy is quite open. It's an open energy. Where if you are the opposite of acceptance, which is judgment, the energy is closed. So something that happens when you have the ability to stay open is you allow the energy to be. So what does that mean? Allowing the energy to be does not mean you have ideas for the energy. The energy is moving where it's moving, and we are not trying to force. And sometimes energy, when we're talking about energy, it's just an emotion. An emotion. An emotion could be, ultimately everything is energy, but an energy can form itself as an emotion, and then you could be using that emotion to be reacting to what's taking place in your life. And that's why I always say there's a difference between a feeling and an emotion. An emotion is a reaction to your story. Emotion is a reaction to what you're experiencing through your 5 human senses, where a feeling is a 6th sense. It's not caused by a reaction. So, not to get too deep, just keep it pretty simple. I hope to anyway. The energy, if you can allow an energy to be, and what the best way you allow an energy to be is by giving it space. Okay, do you know what I mean by giving something space? Sure you do. How many times in your life have you said to somebody, hey, or maybe somebody's told you, hey, I need some space, right? Like, what are you looking for in that space? See, within that space, there is a serenity, there is a peace, there is a piece of ourselves that we find. Within that space is infinite, our infinite capacity. Within that space is the love that we are looking for. So sometimes we do say, hey, I need some space. So what I'm trying to say to you right now is that the best way to allow something to be, and when you're allowing something to be, it's like nature. If we don't interfere with nature, we are allowing it to be, right? What happens? It all works, right? If anything, we interfere with nature, and nature then has to respond accordingly to our interference. But if we have no interference, nature just works. It just works. The tides will come in, the animal kingdom will work. It just works. Okay? So there is a great power in allowing something to be. So for me, when I find myself not allowing something to be is because I am in judgment of something, I am afraid, I am resisting an emotion that I don't want to feel. But to allow something to be, you are allowing the energy to go where it's going. For me, energy is not stationary, it's always moving. Okay, it will move through you through a feeling, through an emotion, through your thoughts. Okay, but it's continuously moving. It's never stationary. Okay, yes, maybe when you stop and you maybe experiencing, I don't know, meditation, you may experience the energy being in stillness, and you think to yourself, you know, but my energy is really still. It's really calm right now. It's not moving. I get it, all right? But it's still vibrating. It has a vibration. Just like love and fear have different vibration, the stillness has a different vibration. In fact, if you can then get that stillness to move, when the energy is that peace that we find within ourselves, if we can then move that energy, when I say by moving your energy, it's just simply by placing your attention on something, the energy moves. But the energy that you have. Okay, if you're looking to place your attention on something because you're looking to receive something because you don't have it, that's not it. Because if you place your attention on something from the space of not having something, then your view is I don't have. So then when you place your attention on trying to receive something you don't have, all you do is experience not having it. It always is one step away from you. It's like that carrot that gets dangled in front of you. If you seek for something in your life from the space of not having, all you create is the experience of not having. And even if you created the experience of having, you don't experience what it has to offer for you because you are too consumed by trying to control this very thing that you perceive now that you have. You want to now keep it, so you don't actually experience it. Give you a reference point. People make lots of money and they just work their ass off for the rest of they work lots. They want to make lots of money because then they want to do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do. But when they make lots of money, they don't do whatever they want to do whenever they want to do because they think to themselves, what if the money stops flowing? So they become consumed in trying to control the money they have and make more money because it's not enough to make the money that they have feel safe. Just to give you a reference point of what I'm talking about. So yeah, there is a power in allowing something to be. The energy is moving. For me, when something is taking place in my life, whether that's something or somehow or a feeling that I have, or something that's moving in the world like the coronavirus, okay, it's moving. It's going somewhere. Okay, we go through different experiences, different vibrations in our life. We have what's called construction and deconstruction. Energy is continuously constructing, and if you study nature, it does the same thing, right? But at the end of the day, it's giving something space and allowing it to go where it needs to go. This does not mean we sit on our hands and do nothing about anything that's taking place in our life. But in our minds, in our hearts, we allow it to be, which frees us from trying to resist or fight whatever it is that you think isn't meant to be happening. We allow it to be, and then it allows us to be who we need to be within this circumstance, within this opportunity, whatever it may be. So there is, again, I will say, there is a great power in allowing something to be. And you allow something to be by simply giving it space. Okay? So, as I mentioned to you before, if you don't know what space is, and just in case you just joined us right now, think about the times when you ask yourself or ask someone, I just need space. Why do you use those words? I need space. Hey, just give me some space right now, right? That means if you're asking for space, that means something or someone or some circumstances is causing you to feel that you can't allow yourself to be. You're not being yourself. Something is causing you to have a restriction or feel limited in being yourself, you're not feeling free to be yourself. Okay, so then you say to someone, usually, hey, I just need some space. And what you're doing is you're reconnecting with yourself and you're going back to allowing something to be. So what forms after you allow something to be is the energy usually reunites. Okay, and when I say the energy reunites, what I'm talking about is not woo-woo. This is just what it is. This is truth. We live in a world of duality. Energy is in two. Okay, and there's a reason for that. I won't go into that right now. When I say energy is in two, it's love or fear, or you might say love and hate. It's positive or negative. It's right or wrong. It's good or bad. It's hot or cold. It's in or out. It's failure or success. I could just keep going. Out of everything, there is an opposite. That's what duality is about. That's how we experience ourselves, as I am over here talking to you over there. We are experiencing our world of separation. Without duality, you wouldn't understand that you are separate from the energy that is connected to all things. You have that understanding that you are separate from the energy of all things, because you have the ability to perceive energy as right and wrong, good and bad. But what we truly know is that there is no right or wrong, there is no good or bad. Yes, not in oneness. So what typically is happening in the world of duality is that the energy is moving, and at one point it forms back to itself. It returns back to itself. This is called oneness. And you don't have to do this. This is something that's happening continuously. There is a dance between infinity and finite. There's a dance that's taking place. And when the energy comes back together in that moment, that's when you're experiencing happiness for no reason. There's no reason. There's nothing causing you to feel happy, or there's nothing causing you to feel free or joy. You're just feeling joy. Now, have you experienced that before, where you experienced happiness for no reason? I mean, my experience of that once, I remember when I had sitting down on a park bench thinking about all the problems I had and all the things I had to not be happy about. And I don't know what happened, for a moment, I just let go. I didn't try to let go. For a moment, I just let go of that thought, and I just found this bliss, or maybe the bliss found me. It was just a moment, a joy, and I was just like, and there was my mind then immediately kicked in and went, why do you feel happy? weren't we just thinking about all the things that we're unhappy about? And immediately I lost it. It was gone. But I knew that was real. What was that? Where did that come from? That is when the energy has come together as one. This is called the energy equilibrating. Okay, well, I like to call it, it's the energy has neutralized from positive or negative. The energy has neutral. So what I'm trying to say here is that the energy is always on its way back to neutralizing, except we get in the way because we think this is negative, this is positive, this is right, this is wrong, and we begin a battle or a dance, if you like, with the positive and negative energy. This is what happens. But if you have an ability to stand back and observe, you just, and rather than resist the energy, observe it, witness it, or allow it to be, as what I've been talking to you guys about, the energy forms back to itself. And you will feel this in you. It's not something you see with these two eyes. This is something I know just from experience. This is how I live my life. I've talked about this before, about the seesaw. When you're at the edge of the seesaw, your up and down is very big in life. And life goes up and down. And some people accept that, well, life goes up and down. That's what life is. But as you become more aware, as you expand your awareness, as you expand your consciousness, all right, you begin to move to the middle of the seesaw. What happens to the up and down right in the middle of the seesaw? Well, the up and down is still happening because the world's still operating. It's still going to go up and down because that's what the balance is. But you don't move up and down. You see, when these two energies come together and experience themselves as one, which is called oneness, that's when you're experiencing what I continuously refer to as infinite possibilities or as love. But this love that I'm talking about is a universal, it's an infinite love. It's not the love that has an opposite. The love that has an opposite is in duality. That love is not really a love, it's a need. Like you need to do what you love to do, or you need somebody to love you. You confuse that with love. But love doesn't have an agenda, love doesn't have a reason, love doesn't have an opposite. True love, infinite love, doesn't have an opposite. So the love that you experience in your everyday life is like, well, I need to be loved. So you do certain things, you be in a certain way to ensure that you get love. That's the love that you experience in duality. And therefore control comes in, because it's very important that you do get that love, because if you don't, there's a part of you that's slowly dying. And you're having and experiencing a slow, gradual death. So there's a part of you that comes in to control and ensure that people will accept you, will approve of you, will give you recognition. These are all sensations of, feeling like you belong, which is a version of love. But all these love that I just described, recognition, appreciation, acceptance, approval, and a sense of feeling safe, which is what you feel in love, you feel as the love that you receive in form. But that love is temporary, and that's why it comes and goes. It's part of the troughs, it's part of the ups and downs, So I guess, today the conversation really has been about the power of allowing something to be, whether that is an emotion that you're feeling. So if you're feeling like, for example, positive, what do we normally do? We get excited and we want to control and contain, or not contain, we want to control that positive. We want to keep it. Like, I feel so amazing I just want to keep this, right? Now, what do we know about someone who feels really, really positive after a little while? They're going to start to feel negative. And if you didn't see it, they just hid it from you. If you didn't see it in yourself, you're just lying to yourself. What you're doing is you're suppressing the negative. Within duality, you're going to experience both at equal forces. There's Newton that says Everything has an opposite. If you press on something, any force, if you press on a force, you're going to get an equal and opposite reaction, or an equal and opposite force. This was Newton that said that many years ago. It's the same. It's energy. Now you think to yourself, well, hang on, why wouldn't I want to keep the positive? Because it's not real. It's temporary. That's why you can't keep it. Have you met those people who are always very, very positive? There's a lot of very sad parts of them that they're not showing you. It's about bringing the positive and negative together. It's about, so what I was trying to say is when you experience a positive energy or a positive charge, you try to control it, you try to keep it, right? So your control element kicks in. Or when you're experiencing yourself as a negative energy, you try to resist it, you try to get rid of it because you think to yourself, I shouldn't be feeling negative, because if you feel negative, then it means you have a problem. It means that you're a failure. But the thing is, we all feel negative. We all feel negative emotions. The question is, how do you resolve the negative emotions? You allow it to be. It is the most powerful thing you could do. What you normally do is you think it's wrong, I shouldn't be feeling negative, so then you try to get rid of it. And then what you're actually doing is reinforcing it, because your attention goes on the negative and you reinforce the negative. Or your attention goes on the positive and your energy goes on all trying to control and keep it. So when you go into trying to control or keep the positive, you go into the energy of need. What do you think need comes from? Does need come from love? No, it comes from fear. These two energies are resolving themselves. If you can witness, if you can stand back and just notice an emotion, notice something that's taking place in the world, notice something that's taking place in your life. If you're seeing just one side, please understand there's another side you're not seeing. If you can allow it to be, you can observe it, you can witness it, you can give it space, you'll see it resolves itself. And you think to yourself, all the times that you've been resolving all these things that's been taking place in your life, no, you've just been taking credit for it. In fact, a lot of the times you've just been getting in the way of things resolving. Guys, study nature. For me to realize what I'm talking to you about, I study nature. Oh, well, it's different for us. We're not part of nature. Oh, really? Not part of it. We're human beings. Yes, you're a human being. You have your human part and you have your being part. The being part is the part of you that I'm talking, that you're using right now as a tool to observe, to allow it to be. So, I guess today's message is all about giving something space, allowing something to be. Sometimes that's an emotion, and sometimes that's something that's taking place in your life. Now, doesn't mean allowing something to be is, I'm not talking about surrender. Well, what people think surrender is. People think surrender is just to give up. Surrender doesn't mean to give up. It's to give up on control. That's what surrender means. And you are still participating in responding to how you feel to respond to your current circumstances. But the thing is, if you're not allowing it to be, you're no longer responding. You are now reacting. You're reacting out of fear, or if it's love, it's the need of love. It's not love. Love doesn't react to receive love. Love, if anything, responds to give love. That's the real love. Why does the real love want to give love? Because he has it. The love that is the shadow, it's the part of the duality. It's not looking to give love, it's looking to get it. So, something to put in your pipe and smoke tonight, maybe? No, I'm just kidding. But something to mull over, something to ponder on. You know, don't be so forceful. There's an energy that we use that creates an effortless power rather than an effortful one. The effortful one will age you, will make you tired. You don't feel revived. You don't feel alive at the end of it. Don't get me wrong, I might be flying an aircraft all day and I might have 6 aerobatic flights back to back. Sometimes I take someone for an aerobatic flight and they go, how many of these do you do? I go, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, sometimes depends on the day. And they're like, I can't believe you do more than 2 because it's so draining. But here's the thing. There is a difference between, at the end of the day, when you're doing something that you enjoy, you might be exhausted, but you feel alive. You feel joy in that exhaustion. You feel complete. Like, I'm driving home, I'm physically tired, but my soul is energized. So that's different. When you're doing something that's driven by fear or that's driven by need, when the energy is, you're trying to control the energy rather than observe it, witness it, and give it space, the things that you do are exhausting, not just physically. Not only do you age, not only do you change your physical frequencies to be more receptive to stress, anxiety, depression, diseases, but your soul is dying. It's dying slowly.